You feel the cold and the dust in your lungs. You hear the sounds of a distant city bustling around, the mix of like steam powered sort of releases in the air, and the mix between like carriages and mechanical and metal. And as you open your eyes, the camera sees the start. It looks upon the vast sort of landscape of a widespread city. But though it is daytime, you see that there's like clouds and smoke that sort of billow on top of this city, and not very. There's like maybe little pockets of like light that are breaking through these clouds of dust and smoke. But you see a city below that's in the middle of a change between medieval and this new rise of technology, which is steampunk. So there's all these like various spouts and chimneys all over the place with billowing black cloud smokes coming out of these various stacks. And which is the city of New Burke City, because something happened to the old city that we don't need to talk about now. But as the camera turns down, we see a specific district of the city called the Arcana District, which is a very big, about like, let's say like 50-foot high wall that goes all the way around this district, which is very close to the seaside docks of the city, because this is a seaside city. And we look down at this district, and then we cut to another scene where we see people standing at a train station, and they're all in Victorian dress, nice little cravats, top hats, and the ladies in the big bustles of their dresses as they're waiting. And one person takes out a little stopwatch, little pocket watch, and they're looking at the time and looking up at the little thing at the train stations that tells you, like, flickers when the train's going to be here, and it says a VolTek local. And they're looking at the train, looking at the time, and they look down the tracks and they see like a little something is shaking. And as the train is coming around, and then the train just boom blows right through the station, everyone like flies back as it just flies through and does not stop. And the camera looks back up at the ticket. This is VolTek local, and it switches to Express. And then we cut to the back of the train as it is rattling through this city with all these various spires and the smokestacks and all this steampunk attire with various steam blowing up out of the stuff. And we see at the back of the train, there's this dwarf that comes out of the back in this little like kind of balcony at the back of the train. He looks very unhappy at the situation, and their dress is kind of like like Napoleonic mixed with a little bit of suit of armor. It's kind of like in that transitionary period, and he has like mutton chops, but like rosy cheeks, looks a bit young. And then he looks up, and then three figures, boom, land on the back of the train. And could you all please describe your characters?
I'd say Leon probably has made maybe the least noise. I would say he ended up appearing in a puff of smoke as he descended down there. It's an elvish man, much later in life, like later 40s, I would say, or 40, whatever 40 relatively would be for an elf. Mm-hmm. Pretty lean figure, kind of got a little bit more like the button-up short, the sleeves rolled up, the suit, got like a suit vest. Still got a sword on his hip though, but it just emerges from this puff of smoke that either the train must have passed through or just manifested there somehow. And he seems totally unfazed, but you can see on his face, he's got a bit of a giddy-ish look on his face, like he's excited to be there for what's about to happen.
Hell yeah. So, like, rewinding back a few seconds, was Leon, like, waiting at, like, a bridge or something like that, and, like, looked down at the train, and then just, what did that look like?
Probably hanging out, like, on top of, like, a giant, like, steam pipe that was, like, arcing over the tracks at some point that it had to cross under. He's kind of waiting there. He's kind of like fiddling with the like hand on the like hilt of his sword a little bit. Maybe he's kind of like looking at this guy, like lost his thoughts for a little bit, thinking he's a man of the industry. He knows how this thing goes. So his mind, he's not as like concerned with the steps that are about to go down. He's probably thinking, so when this is all over, who am I going out to go get a drink with?
You're like, was it them? No, I don't think of them. And then the train.
What was his face? He still owes me money from that bet. Oh, hey, look, there's a train.
Zaboom! And then poof onto the back of the train. The dwarf sort of like stumbles back.
Bedlam is basically a warforged, so humanoid looking. His head looks like a helmet with uh, the eyes flash orange as it waits for the train, almost like a caution sign. And standing at before, just next to Leon, and as Leon disappears, Bedlam steps forward and falls right on top of the train, not exactly going onto the platform, but just on the roof of that car there,
Boom.
and just kind of turns torso around, looks down to make sure that Leon has arrived well, and then we'll just monkey over onto the platform itself.
Amazing. Would you say what sort of like steampunk sort of thing? Do you have like a pipe on you somewhere, or is it just like little like little steam things that pop out? Are you like, is it very humanoid looking, or is it like, are you like a ball or something like that?
Very humanoid looking.
mhm.
There are steam vents at the shoulders, at the neck, at the back, and at the legs. So it kind of looks like a hydraulic system in a way for the legs. But the
Nice.
torso, he can kind of spin 360 if he needs to. His arms look like they have a almost like a tube where looks like either weapons or something can be attached to it. At its back is both a glaive and I believe a halberd. Yeah.
Nice.
And a couple of hand axes as well. So looks like something ready to cut things.
Hell yeah. Shaboom! This big automaton robot just lands on the top of the train, and then boom, goes onto the back.
So Korik is a halfling man. He's at a mighty 2'10". Everything he's wearing is made of natural leather. Like he's got this leather armor. Even like the weapons he has strapped to his back, they're made of wood. Very against this new age technology thing. And I think appropriately that you go to me last, because I think as this train kind of dashes past, he's like almost knocked over by the force, being a very little man. And just instinctively, his shape begins to transform into this marsupial being, and it's a kangaroo. He
Hell
just
yeah.
he's not going to make this jump on his own, so he poof, jumps onto the back or wherever the train is at this point, and then in the dismount, he just becomes himself again. He just turns into this little man, make sure everyone else is on all right.
What is your transition? What is like the transformation look like? Is it like an animorphs, like disgusting, or is it like a poof of smoke, or like leaves, or like what does the transformation look like?
I was thinking more the animal thing. I think like it's first
Yeah.
the face moves and then everything else kind of like follows after. Exactly that. Yeah.
Awesome. So just boom, kangaroo, boom, and then Korik, you land on the back of this train, and we see all three of our heroes on the back of this train. And you see the dwarf on the ground is like, jeez, it's you. You guys are the cutters. Leon, I didn't know you were here. Leon, you recognize this is Emil, a knight, which is kind of like the guards of the rest of this city. This is one of the guards that he used to work with, who used to be a squire. Knight, it is sort of on this train. He looks at me like, oh, geez, it's you!
Listen, yeah, there's been a bit of a change of plans here, Mill. You don't you worry, little thing. And I toss him like a piece of gold and say, we were never here.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, there's definitely a problem with the train, but I mean, now that you all are here, Leon, you're amazing. And I heard of a Korg before, the really strong druid magic guy, and then the famous Bedlam, the big scary robot. But now that you're here, I'm sure you can help us figure out what the hell's going on in this train.
Bedlam tilts its head. What exactly has been going on?
Well, I don't know much, but we've definitely got a problem. And I would say we sort of cut to you all inside of this last train car. And for the audience, basically, they are a group of cutters, which is basically kind of like mercenaries that are hired to go and make sure that the people that are doing research on magic and steam tech make sure that all of their experiments stay within the Arcana district. Because if they get out of the district, that's when basically the companies get super fined and could go like straight out of business. So they hire cutter crews, which is what these folks are, to go and make sure the problems do not escape the district. And they received a message just a few, maybe like, I don't know, 20 minutes some before from their contact from VolTek Industries for like getting a bunch of money. Basically, they have to meet and discuss whatever this is, a pretty vague message, but the place that they had to get is on this VolTek Hydro train, and they said it was an emergency and get there ASAP, and their contact is Archibald Durling. So yeah, you all get inside of this last car of the train. It seems to be a 5 car train, and you are on the back car. So you are led inside of this back car, which seems to be like the mail car, or like sort of like normal people packages, not like the business or corporations stuff. But there's a bunch of mail and like nets and things that have all of like letters and various little boxes. But there's a bunch of people lying on the ground. It looks like they've been severely burned. And there's like all laid out, and it looks like some of them have bandages on them, and they look in pretty bad shape. And Emil leads you all into this back car.
What happened to them?
Well, it was steam, honestly. Basically, we just started off the day. I do this sort of every weekend just to make a little bit of extra money. But it was like we were supposed to stop at the second station, and we just never stopped. So I went to go check it out. I went to Economy, which is the next car, and just full of steam, people screaming, freaking out. They look sick, so we tried to get them out of there real quick, but we can't even get through the car. It's just full of really hot steam, and the train just keeps getting faster and faster, and none of us can really get across. And, so we got a bunch of hurt people, but I know there's definitely more people in like the first class past that, but something's wrong with the train. It just keeps going and going and going. And if it keeps going faster, we're going to fly off the tracks.
So, quick question. Is this train going into, like, in the direction of, like, the center of the Arcana District or away from it?
You know that this train in the Arcana District is basically just a big loop. Okay. So actually, it's in no danger of, like, hitting an endpoint, but from what Emil said, if the train keeps going faster and faster, it definitely will at some point like fly off the tracks. So it's not in danger of hitting anything or leaving the district. But yeah, the speed is a problem.
Okay. Is there anything striking about these steam burns on some of these civilians?
Give me either a perception or a medicine check. Okay. I would say, Korik, you could probably give me a nature if you'd like.
I'll go for the perception roll in that case. That's a 14.
Okay. You know, with a 14, what would you get, Korik?
7.
Okay. You're just like, it looks bad. It looks pretty bad. Leon, I would say you being in a steampunk kind of time, you would definitely know what steam burns look like, and it looks like it's definitely a steam burn. But there's like, it looks also infected a little bit. So with a 14, you don't know more than that, but you do know it's steam and something else. But these people look like they're in bad shape. It definitely need to get them some help soon.
And the next car over is full of steam.
So what do you guys? Thank the gods you guys are here. What? How did you know? How did you get on the? How did you get here? I appreciate it, honestly, everything's gonna be fine with you guys here. I mean, with Bedlam and Korik and Leon, the most famous cutters. Honestly, I'm not worried at all.
Don't worry, if you're not worried at all, then you're on a need to know basis, dude, my dude.
Okay, yeah, sure.
I propose we send the machine in to depressurize the next car over. These burns, fleshy things don't like being burned, you know?
I have observed that. Be one moment, please. Bedlam will go forward and go through the two connecting platforms into the next car to see what they can figure out how to depressurize or get rid of whatever the steam is. Figure out if maybe it got reconnected somehow to where it was, instead of steam powering the train to go forward, getting into the car.
Okay. So you leave the baggage car, or baggage mail car, and go into the connecting platform. And you can see just sort of like with the fogged glass from the economy car, you open it and just hot steam rushes out. But again, you are a robot, so it is fine. I honestly didn't even think about that out of character. I was like, oh man, they're gonna have to do something stupid. You just walk in to the car, and you see that it's just like full of really hot steam. And actually, I would say if you spend too long in here, it will start to damage you because it is really freaking hot. It even looks like some of the glass is starting to get like a little wobbly, starting to get warpy because it's very, very hot. Give me maybe some sort of intelligence check, or how are you wanting to figure out what's in here? You tell me.
First, Bedlam would like to open up windows to try and relieve some of the steam there, to make a visual easier.
Just give me real quick athletics. It's gonna be very low DC, but give me just like 11 will be your DC for athletics. Just because like they're probably a little bit melted, but you are a robot and the heat's not bothering you. But just wanted to check.
25.
What does it look like when you just like boom, 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 boom to throw up all these windows?
Pretty much going right through the alley and just doom.
Very mechanical. Love it.
Yeah, and then turns the torso around because the feet look like basically could be either way. So, and then looks for whatever is the source of the steam.
Okay.
Coming into the car.
Okay, yeah. Give me a perception then.
Nat 20 for a 21.
Ooh.
Hey.
Okay. Nat 20. Okay. It's like something is going wrong with the engine that is. It's at the front of the train. You just kind of like, you just know instinctively. You like look at the pipes and you're like, boom, I know exactly what's going on. And it's coming from the engine of the train, the very front. But you do know with that Nat 20 that if you just like smash one of the pipes, the steam will go out, or just like cut something on the outside of the train, the steam will be releasing outwards and not into the car anymore. And with a Nat 20, you also know that no other cars on this train have that problem. It's just this one. So you don't have to worry about steam in the other cars. So basically, you just have to do something to release the steam from this one, and it will make this car habitable, like to walk through. But the source is coming from the front of the train.
Possible if I know that there's like a pipe that's piping in the steam, would like to just reroute it outside one of the windows that are open.
Okay.
Just to make it like easy.
How do you want to do that? Do you want to like physically, or is like do you want to like turn some knobs and shit? Like, tell me how you want to do that.
Bedlam would like to just do it physically. That is the most expedient way of doing something.
Okay. Yeah, give me an athletics. I'm gonna say this is metal, but you are a robot, so I'll say it's a DC 18.
21.
Okay. So what does this look like, Bedlam?
Just like quick glance, head going back forth, sees the one causing the most steam, grabs it, and make sure it's pointing towards the window, waits for it to clear, and then starts heading back.
And I would say as soon as you clamp that, as you like turn and start shooting the steam out, we're gonna do a little flashback with Bedlam's character. I would say this is maybe like a year or two ago. We find we are in a sort of estate, a very darkened room, and we see a woman known as Vivian sitting on a chair, looking very like she has been crying, is no longer crying anymore, but is sitting on a chair and is looking across the room at a very stationary, immovable Bedlam who is activated but is just standing there. And Bedlam, could you please describe what Vivian looks like? Your creator.
Vivian is a half-elven woman, dark, almost jet black hair, curls, dark skin, bright green eyes. Half of her face is a waxy melted mess from fires or something that had happened in an explosion. Half of her body is also pretty mangled, but she has created an artificial leg and an artificial arm to which she is just looking at and also studying what she has done with Bedlam. And just trying to get the strength to stand back up.
You see her just leaning on her knees and just looking across the room at Bedlam. She says, "They're coming to inspect you today. The council, wizard, and knights, to make sure you can do what is necessary." Kari, Bedlam, do you understand?
Yes, I understand.
You see, when you speak, she looks like she always loses a little bit of strength whenever you speak. And then you hear a knock at the door, and she very difficultly gets to her feet. She says, "That must be them." And then we cut to the courtyard of the estate where Vivian lives, and we see a very wizardy looking wizard, and then but dressed in Victorian style wizard garb, and then two knights who have that sort of half knight armor, half Napoleonic vibe going on, and they're standing in this courtyard with a couple of straw like little dummies, like fighting dummies, and the wizard, I'll put on little glasses for him. The wizard is like, "Well, and what should we refer to the automaton as?" And Vivian's like, "Bedlam." "Yes, Bedlam. We are here to assess your abilities today, to see if you will be, to see what is possible with your new abilities and services. So if you could please begin by, let's say, can you protect us from these dangerous little straw dummies, do you think?"
Yes, but they do not move.
"Well, just pretend that they mean us harm. Could you please show us how you could protect us?"
Bedlam tilts its head for a moment. The eyes flicker just a little bit. It rights its head, goes in front, and as if the dummies were coming to a rushing attack, it takes out the glaive and goes into a defensive position, and then puts its arm out. A javelin comes out of the arm and is shot out into the dummy.
Hell yeah! Just give me an attack roll for your javelin.
17.
Awesome. So you just like scoom this javelin, boom, sticks through. The camera's like on the other side, and it sees like the point come out of the other side of the straw dummy. And then what do you do to the second dummy, the straw one?
The second dummy, Bedlam strikes forward, swings the polearm around, and to sever the head.
Awesome. Give me another attack.
That is an 18.
Awesome. And just whoom, just like cut through, and then it's like that little like you cut through it, and then it starts to slide, and then boom, falls to the ground, and you hear the camera turns around, and you see the two of the knights are kind of like a little bit shocked. One of them with their hand is on their sword, the other one with their hand was on what is known as a riveter, which is basically kind of like a very low-tech steam gun that shoots like nails, basically. But they're like very shocked, and the wizard is like, well done, well done. Well, the last question that I have for you, Bedlam. It seems that you are very skilled indeed, but something that we also are looking for, and not only in strength of fighting, but also in strength of mind. You must make very quick decisions out there in the world, and must be assured that you can make good ones. Vivian and myself will not be there, so what would you do? How is your mental state? Tell me about that.
Again, Bedlam tilts their head. The eyes flicker a little bit, rights the head, and says, experience is the best teacher, so I can extrapolate from what I see and what I am told in order to make the most prudent decision.
Well, then perhaps I'll give you an example. Let's say that you're chasing a murderer through the streets, but the murderer runs into a ladder that a young boy is climbing, and the boy is about to fall. What do? Do you continue chasing the murderer? Do you help the boy? What would you do in this situation?
Aid the boy, and if I have a clear shot, shoot my javelin at the murderer.
Well, interesting. And you see the wizard thinks for a second. One of the knights leans over, whispers something to him. He's like, well, perhaps a trial run should be good. What say you?
I agree.
Excellent. We shall put you in contact with some cutter crew. And then we flash back to the current moment, back onto the train. And we see Bedlam walking back to the baggage car, having cleared all of the steam out of that car, reuniting with the little halfling Korik and the... are you an elf, Leon?
That's right.
Elf. Reuniting with the little halfling Korik and the elf Leon as you return to the baggage car.
The steam
Good
should
work
be
there,
cleared.
Give a little bit of a clap at Fan. Perfect.
Yeah, that's great. Wow, that's amazing. Oh yeah, I guess you wouldn't be burned. You're full of metal.
Oh,
Correct.
Yeah.
so we have a train to stop.
The trouble seems to be further up into the engine. I do not believe the next car will be steam-filled.
Wonderful. I'm gonna look around here, kind of take a look at Emil and tell him like to kind of just keep things under wraps back here with all the injured civilians while we move on.
Yeah, sure. I could do whatever you need, man. I could stay back here, make sure everyone's okay. Yeah, let me know if you need anything. But yeah, I'll stay back here.
Scare mind, I'm ready. I'm ready to see what's going on here.
Bedlam turns their torso around and heads forward again.
Looks like we're heading in then. I do have a spirit that would be around. It is a Fey spirit. Korik is oblivious to that fact. Just thinks it's like a nature spirit. Who means nothing but good, but that may not be the case. Wink. Yeah, she takes the guise of like this very floral. I imagine like it's a floral, flowery dress. Very tall, like probably 3 times the size of Korik himself.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. Can other people see them? I forgot.
I would say no until like
Okay.
the spell is actually cast. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess they're there, just sort of like, I guess, floating, sort of next to you, and they're saying, "Oh dear, what a terrible situation you're in."
So yeah, he would just say back in his head, nothing we haven't dealt with before though. We've been on worse jobs, I think.
Yes, definitely worse things have happened, but these people, they look, oh, so badly hurt. You think there's anything you can do about it? Oh, there's probably not. And he just sort of looks away. It sort of flounces without gravity, just sort of like around you.
Sorry, how many injured civilians do we have?
Oh, how many injured folks? Let's see. I'll roll a d8. There's 6 injured folks in here. Huh?
I think he's like, palms his forehead. Well, of course, there's something I can do. Just beat on this technology. It really distracts me. I guess.
It's terrible what they do and what steam can do to people. It's just, well, I don't want to say it's bad, but it's something I don't necessarily like.
Oh, I mean, you can say it's bad. No one's going to argue with me, and no one's going to argue with you in this head.
I don't want to use such harsh language.
Yeah, I think with that, he just goes around and starts like casting cure wounds on anyone who looks like they need it.
Okay, awesome. I'd say you can try to heal these folks, but you don't have. You'll just use like 1 spell slot for that, instead of like all individual ones. And since you're like sort of dividing it amongst them, just give me like a medicine check with advantage.
Sure thing. 23.
Ooh.
That's the second highest I could have rolled.
All right, hell yeah! So what does this look like?
Yeah, like he gets down. Like I guess he probably doesn't need to actually. Now that I think about it out loud. I think he just places like a hand on each of them. Like, he probably doesn't want to be too annoying. Like get in the head. So you all right? You feeling better? Is this good for you? Is this working?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it feels pretty bad, but I guess not as bad when you do the thing. So, thank you.
Well, I'll keep doing the thing then until you.
Oh yeah, I really appreciate that. Thanks a lot.
I do have other people that do let me know, but no pressure though.
Oh yeah, sure, okay. Yeah. So you go around and you heal some of these folks, and I think we do another little flashback at this moment, and I would say, Korik, this was quite a few years ago, and I would say the camera starts in a forest, a very thick forest, and we see these little like faint green orb lights, and we see someone sort of following them, and it's you, quite a few years ago, following these little orbs of light, and as you get close to them, they disappear, and leading you farther into this forest. But then the camera, or like, you hear these growls, these like, and these howls in the forest, and we cut forward, and you're just running through this forest away from these wolves that are getting closer to you and like seem to be stalking you through this forest. And you reach a clearing, and you see Flora, that Fey spirit, just sort of like floating in the air, and she's like, Oh dear. Oh no. You don't seem to be the person I was trying to lead here. Oh dear. That's not very good.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Perhaps I could help you find him.
I'm looking for someone very strong, and it seems those wolves have decided that you're not very strong. And you hear like the wolves like getting closer and sort of like inching closer to this glade. It's like, and they're like getting closer to the clearing. And what do you do or say to impress upon this fey creature that you are strong and you can help them?
I mean not look very strong. I know I'm small in stature, but I can. And then he like turns into like a black bear.
Yeah, just boom. She's like, oh, very surprising. And one of the wolves sort of like jumps at you and just give me an attack. Any sort of skill. Since it's like a bear, you'll probably have different stats, so you can add like a +5 to that since you're a bear.
All right, D20 +5. Got it. It's an 11.
Yeah.
+5.
Actually, I think that might actually hit a wolf. Nope. Unfortunately, that does not hit. So sad. So what does this look like when the wolf sort of jumps up and you miss the attack? One of them sort of like jumps on you and starts like, what does that look like when you miss?
Yeah, I think he swipes too high, not being used to like this new height that he has. He just,
Yeah.
Wait,
And it's just like, mm-hmm.
Goes for like another one. Sorry.
Hell yeah, yeah. So like one of them runs up, you go too high, it runs under, and it starts like chewing on your leg, and then yeah, give me another attack.
It's better. It's a 15.
That is a hit. So what does it look like when you just boom slam this wolf out of the way?
Yeah, I imagine like it's on him, and he's like still not being used to the claws, not knowing how to use them, just like kind of knocks the wolf off of the of him.
Hell yeah, just slams it, and the wolf just boom, boom, like tumbles away to the side of the clearing. But it looks like the rest of the wolves are not afraid enough. It seems like they think they can still take you on. So what do you do now that they're sort of like cornering you, and the face spirit is still looking at you with their inquisitively a little bit like, I don't know if this guy can do it.
Yeah, I think he like looks back over his bare shoulder, and like looks to see like, oh, she's not that impressed yet, and just tries to let out like this big bear roar. Hell
yeah! Yeah, so give me like maybe an intimidate. I would say with that same sort of +5, unless you.
I want you to know, I rolled 2 dice here. I didn't mean to. The first one was a natural 1. The second one was a natural 20.
I mean, I will say that you are a bear, and you did just like slap one of these wolves out of the way, no problem. So I feel like having advantage is totally justifiable.
I won't argue with you. I'll take it. So it's a 25.
Yes. So what is it with that natural 20? What does the camera see with this huge, intimidating roar and growl? What do you do?
Yeah, I imagine it's like he stands up, he reaches both of his quote-unquote hands, thinking they're feet, but lets out this like and the camera pans out of the forest, and you see these like wolves like running off.
The birds from the local trees are just like all like scatter out as well, and the wolves, like you said, turn tail and run, and they're running away. The one that you hit is like limping away, but it's running. And you turn around to face the Fae again, and she looks down at you, and she's like, well, I guess you'll do. And, did you want to say something?
Oh, I mean, I didn't run this past you, but like, you keep wild shape. When you're in wild shape, you typically keep like mental stats and racial abilities. So I think he like still has his telepathy in like bear form, which is ridiculous, but I kind of love it. So he just turns and looks over, looking at the Fae, like speaking into her head if she's able to take telepathy. And just says, "Well, I'm certainly glad you think so. I wasn't sure I was going to pull it off myself, to be quite honest.
Well, there's a lot of things you can do when you have confidence in yourself. And I would say maybe when you're talking telepathy, he's like, as the bear. And then we zoom, cut back to the present moment. And you are all in the baggage car as you're like, I guess, making your way to the next car to like, I guess, through economy and through the first class. What is your marching order? What is everyone doing as they're walking through?
I think Bedlam was first since they had come back from the car to deal with the steam and then turned around to head back into first class.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll probably stand to the side by the door to the platform to let either Leon or Korik proceed.
Leon is probably falling a close second behind. He's on the clock, but letting Bedlam being the Autonomon go first. A little bit of a risk assessment there in that decision for him.
I think whenever the group's together, whether he wants to or not, Cork's usually at the back. Just, he's got little legs he's got to try to keep up.
Hell yeah. Cool. So who opens the door first? Do you guys talk about anything before you enter in? I would say you're at the door to enter to the third car, which is the first class car. And I would say what you can see through the window, though it is a little bit foggy because it seems like there's something going on inside of there. Not the crazy steam like elsewhere, but you hear like some noises and some like weird like little sort of maniacal giggles in this other car. But what you can see, maybe there's like one little smudge that is wiped away that you can see in there, and it looks like it's very, very fancy first class. It almost looks like it's like a ballroom or something like that, fit inside of a train car, where they're like individual like booth seats, very nice. There's like these chandeliers all throughout it. There's a little viewing place, a little like bar near the back half. But it's all like decorated and gilded with ice and snow. But it looks like the ice and snow are starting to melt. And sort of that's what you can see through the fogged glass in front of you.
Shall I proceed?
Could I go ahead and cast Detect Magic before we proceed with any committed actions?
Yes, of course.
Maybe see if I find anything fishy going on in that car up ahead.
Hell yeah. What does it look like when you cast it?
I would say Leon probably just like closes his eyes, like he's just trying to focus. It's like really just like paying attention to kind of just that, all the other noise around him. He's really just not giving a toss about. Really just trying to figure out, like, using like his elvish senses if he can pick up on anything.
Mm-hmm. Well, like, since it's like a warlock thing, is there like a color, or like do you use a wand, or like is it coming from your sword? Like, is there a color or an effect or anything when you cast?
There's
it? Like
there's a little descriptor. Around his sword, actually, there's a little an amulet that's almost like a little focus. It looks kind of like a necklace or a pendant.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a little like blue gem, and it starts kind of like glowing a little like neon bluish color. And if you could see like through Leon's eyes, like everything kind of goes black, kind of goes like white outlines. It's almost kind of like a spirit kind of like starts floating around like this different plane to kind of go and inspect the other car for magic sources.
Awesome. So yeah, this magic comes upon you. You can see sort of like the different magical colors that are in the next car. And there definitely is magic going on in here. Yeah, you see enchantment and transmutation. Enchantment is make stuff do things. Transmutation is change stuff into other stuff. Is basically what that is. But there seems to be the colors that you're seeing, because they're all in one spot. So let's say if enchantment was blue and the other one was green, you see like a blue and green sort of like smashed together, and there seems to be 10 little objects, maybe like dog-sized things, that these colors are on in this next room.
Let's go back to the group. And I'll tell everyone, whoever's up ahead in this car seems to have a bit of a magic influence on whatever's going on in there. It's melting the ice and snow.
Korik,
Suppose.
can you give me a nature or like an insight check real quick based off this information that Leon has given you?
18.
Okay. I'd say you're getting a feeling that without going and interacting with these things yet, I would say you're going to learn something a little later. But right now you get a feeling that there's probably something more to that. But you haven't seen the things or been in the car yet, but you're going to get information about this later. Right now you're like, I feel like there's something more to this. You have like something brewing in the back of your mind that hasn't come to the forefront yet.
I think if he gets that sense like there's something else going on, he might expend a use of his wild shape and summon a little familiar, maybe just like a little canary bird or something, and just like, would you mind going up ahead and having a look for us?
Hello, I'm a bird. That's what I say because I'm a bird. Oh my god, I've come to life. What's happening? What did you want me to do?
If you wouldn't mind, would you mind going ahead and just scouting ahead and telling us what you see?
Okay. In there? With a wing.
Yes, please.
Okay. You see this little canary sort of fly into. Do you like open a window or you like open the door and like throw them in or?
I hope there was one already open, but yeah, if there's not, I will try.
Well, Bedlam would open the doors.
Okay. Whoever's
Just
opening the
crack
door.
it open. Crack it
Yeah.
open, throw them in, and slam the door back so nothing gets out when we do it.
Hell yes. Whoever is opening the door, give me either a stealth or a sleight of hand if you're trying to do this quietly.
It's cool because I got a nat 20 on the sleight of hand for a 23.
Ooh, hot dog.
I got as Leon. I've got my hand under. I'm looking over to Korg. I'm just like with my other hand. It's just like doing a countdown, like 3, 2, 1. Pull it, creak the door open, and bam.
Perfect. Honestly, it was so quiet. Not even Bedlam, who has like mechanical ears, heard the door open and shut. And you see, well, I guess the little bird goes in there. You wait, maybe like a minute, and then you hear a little peck at the door. You don't have to roll again to open it. So you just open it again, because again, you got a friggin' nat 20. You don't need friggin'. So you open it again, close it. No one's the wiser, and the bird's like, "Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there."
That's fair.
I saw like little things, it's kind of like that stuff, and like points at like the metal of the train. There's like little things that's like made of metal, and sometimes they go like, tss, you know. And they're like running around, they're like shooting hot air at things. It looks like there's some people in a door that's made of ice, and it looks like the little metal things are trying to get in. But the door's shut. They seem pretty scared. But that's pretty much it. There's like 10 of them. Little metal things, whatever they are. Yeah.
So, Korik, is it only me that hears the bird? Or can
I would say you're the only one that understands it. Everyone else just hears like.
Yeah. So, I think Korik would relay the information almost the exact way that it's said to him because he also doesn't really have.
Desmond, I'm gonna need you to do it in the exact same voice. To everyone. You have to do that. So you relay the information to the rest of the group, so everyone knows that.
And say, checks out. Well, I don't know. I feel like the best way to go approach this is to just jump in.
Very well. Shall I proceed?
Let's proceed.
Bedlam will go forward and open the door and walk into the car.
Amazing. You just like shaboom, slam the door open, come in, and just no tact. And you walk into the room, and again, it's a straight hallway through, but little like booths for individual passengers to sit at. Very nice, very Victorian steampunky stuff, but again, it's like a cold room that has like ice in it and stuff for like decorations, but the ice and the snow are slowly melting, and you see across the room near the back there's like a back of this rectangle, there's like a little square in the corner that is like, it looks to be where like the bar is. It's like a little like angle, whatever this object, an little L-shaped bar, and in the corner with it is a little like ice room that you can see through. But it seems all of the passengers in the first car are in there trying to hold the door shut. And you see about 10 little, the best ways to describe them are little scrap goblins. They are made of scrap metal or like little appliances smashed together. So there's like a toaster and a coffee pot and like a radiator and like a frying pan. And they're somehow animated. And they're like running around, being like, and they're just like trying to get into this door, and they're like shooting steam out and like smacking the door and trying to break in, and people are screaming inside of the door. And as you fly open, walk into this car, they all just like, and they turn around. Roll for initiative. Let's just say this is like a 40-foot long car. They're at the opposite end. You're at the opposite end as well. There's about like, let's say every 10 feet, there is a chandelier above your head that is made of ice. And anything else that would realistically be in this fancy car, let's say it's there.
Bedlam will move forward and it's going to throw a hand axe at one of them.
Hell yeah.
That's a 25 to hit.
Definitely hits. Give me that damage.
7 points of damage.
Ooh,
Slashing.
Boy.
Second attack, the other hand axe. Is that one still up?
So what does it look like when you just completely destroy one of these scrap goblins with that first hand axe? Like, does it pop out of your arm and shoot?
It's more like a hand axe is on the hips, so Bedlam strides forward, grabs the hand axe, and it's just boom, like just very
mechanical.
Functionary.
Zoom.
Yeah. And so
just like splits it in half.
Yeah.
Awesome. So one is just zoom. It was like the actually, why don't you tell me what was the combo, the scrap metal combo of this goblin that you killed?
The combination of this goblin would have been a coffee maker and a toaster, with the cord acting as the little, like almost like a spring. So once it hits, coffee just spills everywhere. 2 pieces of toast go flying that way, and it just shatters to the ground.
Hell yeah. So you slice it and boom, toast, fresh. It was actually perfectly done. And when you slice it in half, you see like a little translucent blue, almost like spirit sort of like releases from it. And it looks almost like a frog. And I would say, Korik, that's when that insight sort of comes into mind. It looks like these are like spirits are somehow inhabiting these little amalgamation smashed together little things. And you can do a check on your turn to figure out more, but you're like, yeah, definitely there's magic, but also that's a fucking spirit. And it comes out and it just sort of dissipates and goes away.
Korik just like throws up in his mouth a little bit.
It's really gross. Beautiful. Bedlam, you said you have a second attack.
Second attack, second axe, same thing. This time from the left. It's a 19 to hit.
Definitely hits.
6 points of damage.
All right, what does it look like when you destroy this next one? And again, what is the combo of this little scrap goblin?
Let's say the combo for this one is a blender, and what else would be a good thing? A hot water urn.
Hell yeah. So I would say the blender is going, and that's where you're hearing the noises, like, and then maybe it pins it to the wall. And then you see again a little blue spirit of what looks to be like a little frog person, just sort of dissipates once it is destroyed.
Just stay stationary at the 30 feet from the entrance there, through the 2 axes, and is ready with the longsword.
Awesome. So you marched forward like 30 feet when you came in. Okay, cool. So they're like 10
Yeah,
feet
it's
away.
march forward, boom, boom.
Awesome. Just boom, boom. Just like 2 of them immediately kablooey. There's only 8 left. And then we move to the next room, which is these scrap goblins themselves. And so we see the scrap goblins sort of like turn like, and they're all like very, very cautious around you. And you see about 5 of them are sort of like touching each other and kind of like looks like organizing. And 5 of them are kind of making a semicircle around you, Bedlam. And you see 3 of them are starting to climb up the wall. Only 1 of them makes it up the wall. 2 of them fail and fall back down the wall. They're not very good at climbing. So the one of them, I would say maybe it's made out of knives and like a radiator, is like climbing up the wall, and you see it gets up to one of the chandeliers above your head. And it sounds like it's doing something up there. Like a little bit of snow is sort of falling off of the chandelier, but it sounds frustrated. Nothing sort of happens with that. But the 5 that are around you all start lashing out at you. What is your AC?
19.
19. Oh boy.
And it's adamantine plate, so that's why he's not very quiet.
Yeah. So one of them hits you for 8 slashing damage. Yes. And I would say the rest of them, they use a little bonus action to disengage from you, and they actually back up. Like all 5 of them. They're just like slashing at you. Some of them are shooting steam out of their little bodies at you, but most of them miss, or you just dodge, or it's when it's the steam, it just like it hits you and nothing happens. But the other ones are, once they do that, they all like sort of like regroup and back up a little bit, like to the wall to get away from you.
Okay.
And that is the scrap goblin's turn. Now it is Korik.
Right, Korik, he's probably not going to like what he finds out, but he would like to know more about about his creatures. You said there was a check I could make?
Yeah, you can do a nature.
It's a 13.
The only thing that you know with a 13 is what those spirits are, or at least what they were in life. Those are fire frog spirits, which are little like frog people, kind of like Kuotoa or goblins. So like little short folks, but they would shoot like fire out of their mouth and stuff. So that's why they're called fire frogs. And that might be why they're shooting steam out in these little scrap forms. But you don't know much else with that check. But you do know that you know what type of spirit that is.
Still gross. That's what I know. Korik pulls out his water skin. He takes a drink of it, kind of gargles it in his mouth a bit, and then he spits it out. As it's spit out in like a high velocity, it freezes and forms the ice knife spell. So it hits one of the ones in the middle and then bursts.
Oh, hell yeah. So I guess first would be hitting one of them, and then the other ones would be like the deck save part of that spell.
Yes. You know it well, I see. So it's a 19 to hit on the first one for 10 piercing damage, and then the cold damage is 6.
Okay. So that definitely obliterates this first goblin. What is this this combo of appliances for this this one?
Let's say it's a lot of mechanical kitchen utensils with like an iPad type thing on the front of it.
A steampunk iPad. Love that.
For scrying.
Okay. So that one just boom explodes as it gets hit. And what do they have? What is the distance? What is the radius for the rest of the folks that have to make saves for the explosion? Only 5 feet. I'm gonna roll a d4 because they are little guys. So I want to see if they can hit more than one. That is a 4. so that it can hit 4 of them. They will roll saves.
Sorry, it's a DC 15 dex save.
That is a 1 fail. That is that one succeeded. That is another fail. That is a 3rd fail. So there's 3 failures.
Certainly taking that. So the initial piercing was 10, then the cold was 6.
So the explosion is 6.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, so what does it look like when 3 of these things just completely are destroyed by this explosion?
I imagine, like, just bits of various like mechanical debris go flying and they like freeze in the air as they kind of join the explosion.
Hell yeah. Yeah, so as the first one gets hit, the one that was an iPad with knives, and then it's just like and then it just explodes with all these ice shards flying out and just turns them into Swiss cheese, the ones that are around them, just and then boom, 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 they all fall down. And there is only there's actually still 4 left. You've killed quite a lot of them, but there's still 4 left. Yeah, anything else you'd like to do on your turn, Corey?
That's all for me. Thank you very much.
So you just want to? So do you want to stay where you are when you cast the spell, or did you want to get closer at all?
Yeah, no, I think I'd be like the maximum range. He doesn't want to get up close and personal when he's in like halfling form. If he's like bigger and in an animal form, he'll get up close. But yeah, not like this.
Okay, awesome. So just poo, spit across the room, bam! Just like a crazy grenade goes off over there. And then finally we get to Leon.
Well. 4 left. It's been flashy. Been thinking long and hard about this one. I'm going to pop a spell slot to use Hypnotic Pattern on the remaining 4.
Oh dang!
I'll require. So kind of in the same vein as before, when I was doing the Detect Magic, that little amulet's wrapped around the hilt of the sword kind of lights up again, and just kind of like with a little thrust that coming as it's like unsheathed, causes basically like a flashbang to go off in front of them.
Korik and Bedlam, if you can just real quick give me a dex save. I'll say it's pretty low. It's like a 12 to be able to close your eyes in time, so that this spell does not affect you.
Only a 10.
Okay. All right.
I got a 14.
All right. Okay. Bedlam, you close your eye ports. And Korik's like, what?
Ooh, pretty.
So what did they have to roll?
Wisdom save DC is 14.
That is another success. Okay, so 2 of them failed. One of them that was on the chandelier failed, and then the other one is one that's on the ground.
I got an 18 on my wisdom. I'm a lot better wisdom than dex.
All right. So what does this spell look like when you cast it, Leon? Or what do the people that failed, what do they see in this hypnotic
So
pattern?
it looks kind of just like a little orb of blue light just kind of gets lobbed into the center of the car. It kind of rolls a little bit towards their feet and then just kind of explodes in this really bright neon blue light directly in front of them. Kind of probably also comes equipped with like a little bit of like a disorienting factor, kind of cause like a ringing sensation if they're in their ears if they had it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of makes everything a little dizzy. Maybe now they're starting to see colors.
Awesome.
Don't belong there.
Just a big old boom. And
Precisely.
the two little scrap goblins that got hit. One of them was a radiator with knives on the chandelier. What is the second one that gets totally blasted by this thing?
A Keurig machine.
A Keurig. Okay, yeah, it is a steampunk Keurig. So basically, it's just a Keurig with like a really big steam pump on the back of it.
Yes.
And it's just like, so it's just like, and you see little like the little Keurig pods popping out of it as it's just kind of like wobbling around. The radiator with knives is just like on its back on top of the chandelier. Just, and anything else you'd like to do on your turn?
That's about it for me this turn. I would consider that a pack slot well spent.
Hell yeah. And I will also say, actually, when that little flashbang thing sort of goes off, I would say we see our last flashback. and with Leon. And we flash back to an office. This is a room. This is when you were just about to leave the knights, pretty much the guards of the city, and you were coming into Captain Jero's office, who is a dwarf, and he's like the captain of the guard here. And actually, yeah, give me a little bit more. Give me some details about Captain Gero.
All right, he's similar, like you established. He's a dwarf. He's a little more on the huskier side of things. Very much kind of got that like officer captain vibe to him. Mostly spends most of his time probably like in the interiors of whatever workspace he's got, kind of surrounded by paperwork and legal minds, kind of telling him what to do and what not to do. I would say, his quirky little characters, his office is, despite all the crazy paperwork and everything, it's extremely well organized. Seems very kind of like up and tidy with him.
Awesome.
And he's probably, if there are blinds, he's kind of got them like a twisted, like kind of like, so like only just like a little bit of light is kind of seeping in. Very kind of like buried in his work world.
Hell yes. So yeah, you come into this office, door shuts behind you. You see the little blinds that are drawn, a little bit of lights coming in. There's a bunch of stacks, but they're very evenly stacked on his desk. And you see him sitting behind, crossing his big stocky fingers in front, and he sort of leans forward. He's like, "I got you this time, Leon. This time, I know what you've been doing."
And so what is it I stand accused of this time now? I don't know what you mean.
You've got some chip on your shoulder there. You just think you can go around taking bribes from anyone over in the city, getting all these things done. But I've got you this time, dead to rights. So we got two options here. Either you can confess to what you did, or I can take you out in irons.
I would probably kind of like get up close to the desk, maybe kind of reach into my pocket. I'm gonna pull out this little emerald tipped pen that I've accrued. I'm gonna write something down on it using the illusory script magic and hand it to him.
What's this?
And I tell him that is the address in the name for one of the most sought after buyers in all the Arcana District's contraband illegal activities. It's yours to keep. You can keep it and be the hero of this whole department. No one needs to know where you got it. You just happen to be an amazing, hardworking detective who brought in the biggest kingpin this city's seen. But in exchange, you're gonna let me walk out of here and we'll never see each other again. And we're gonna pretend like this never happened.
He looks down at the paper. He just sort of scowls at it and looks back up at you. I would say give me a persuasion or something with advantage.
Okay.
Or deception, whatever sort of social skill you'd like to give me.
I'll say, because I am actually giving him, like, I would say this, Leon was probably giving him, like, legitimate information to try to levy with him, so I will perhaps argue for persuasion.
Yeah, hell yeah.
About that. Total of 19.
He looks down at the scrap paper, he looks at you. You think you can just buy me off? Bribe me like all the other ones?
I don't think I can. I know I can. You made this whole department in part just to get this one guy. You've been chasing him for 7 years, and you never ever got close to him with the rules that you set up. But I did. I went out there on the streets and I talked to people. I got shit done. I did something you never could.
He puts
but I'm willing to give that to you.
He puts down the paper and he just just looks at you and he's like, "Get the fuck out of my office." And he's just like, he looks very mad, but you can tell that like he's been wanting this for such a long time. And he's just like, "Can't stand people like you. Don't keep to your oaths. Just a fucking mercenary. But you can go."
I kind of pause from it, straighten up. I don't know if this world has cigarettes or any equivalent, but if I imagine if I did, I'd probably take one off of his desk and light it for myself before I leave. On the way out, without turning around to look, I say, might want to copy down what's on that note. No one else is going to be able to read in a couple hours.
Shit.
And as he looks at, I want to say, I would imagine like the note is like shifting languages every so often, like into a jumbled mess.
He's like, "God damn it." He's like,
And then I just close the door behind me.
Jaboom! You close the door as he's struggling to write down the name of that person. Then we whoosh back to the present moment with everyone in this car. And
I'm in the middle of like I imagine like as we get back. Sorry to cut in, but
no, yeah.
So he throws the thing. I throw the orb, right? Yells, "Take cover!" Like I duck behind like one of the like benches or something, like one of the seating arrangements to kind of shield myself. I look back up, kind of giddy and excited, like see if everyone got caught. Kind of look over my buddies. I'm like, "Oh yeah, sorry, my bad, sorry,
Sorry about that. Whoops.
Y'all good over there?"
I am fine.
All right over here, lad. No harm, no foul.
All right.
Amazing. And I think that is all of your turn, correct?
Correct.
Amazing. So then we see, boom, this flash of light, and then we move back to the top of the round again with Bedlam.
And so there are 2 who are dazed and 2 who are
Yes.
not, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
2 who are not are on the floor, about 10 feet in front of you. And one of them just on the floor as well, but is dazed, and one is dazed that is up on the chandelier.
The 2 that are not dazed, I will go ahead and attack with my longsword. So first attack, 17.
That hits.
7 points of slashing.
Completely destroyed.
14 to hit.
That does not hit.
Okay, so basically Bedlam would go and hit a knife block, coupled with tongs, and that goes scattering, and as it tries to do another slash to it, the other little goblin just hops back.
Yeah, just it sort of hops back. You hear the little metal scraping on the ice, sort of icy floor below it. One's running back, and is looking around. It looks very scared. And I would say it instinctively, the goblin that's next to it, that's like, oh, it's like, what's up? It tries to shake the other goblin, and it will wake it up out of the hypnotic pattern. But that wasted that first scrap goblin's turn. The other one is woken up. It's like, and will try to climb up the wall to get away from Bedlam. Does not succeed. Falls back down onto the ground, sort of wasting the little scrap goblin's turn.
Do I get an attack of opportunity on it?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I guess technically, since it failed at getting away, it never necessarily left.
It never left my
your-
okay, that's fine.
Your area. But I will say that the one that woke up the other one is going to disengage and is going to try to open the door and run further on. So that little goblin sort of disengages, grabs the door, tries to open it, and starts to run through to the next car. I will say, since they are in retreat, we are out of initiative, unless you wanted to pursue and take them down.
I think Korik doesn't really take the lead on these kind of decisions. He's hanging around.
I'll say Leon probably fires an Eldritch Blast at whichever one looks like it's made of the most valuable stuff.
Okay, let's see. Probably. I don't remember if the iPad with knives one was destroyed. Let's say it's that. Let's say that one's still alive. And that's the one that did not make it out the door. So you can totally hit that one if you want.
All right. So you want to roll for that then?
Yeah.
I think. All right. Well. So it's an 11 to hit.
Unfortunately, it does not hit.
I just like pop out really just a little too quick from behind that bench or something. To don't really take my time to aim. Just kind of shoot in the general direction of the door. It just kind of like whizzes past its head, like hear like ding as it hits the metal of the rim of the door instead.
It sort of like freaks out a little bit as it's boom hits right above him.
I just kind of shrugged myself, like curse under my breath a little bit, like damn it.
The people that were in the little ice room, what are they doing? Are they?
They're still in the ice room. I would say it's sort of translucent, so they probably just see some figures coming into the room. They probably stopped screaming, but they have not exited yet.
All right, and then there's that one still in the chandelier above me, correct?
Yes.
Stab.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'd say just give me an attack.
That's all right. So 22 to hit.
Okay. Yeah.
Just bring the whole chandelier down.
Yes. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna roll a d6. See if it does. It does not bring this chandelier down. You are safe.
That's 7 points of damage.
Yeah, you just stab through it, and then you hear a little as the little spirit leaves its little scrap body. Going home to Jesus. So little frog Jesus. Yeah, so you stab that one. I would say, yeah. Let's say the one that you missed. Leon, just give me an intimidation real quick.
Intimidation, he says. Okay. All right. Well, that's only that's a 5 total.
Okay, never mind. So even though you missed it, it is not scared. So then we, I guess, go back to Bedlam. Back to your turn. You did stab that one. There's still one in the room. Is there anything you'd like to do with it?
Yeah, I'll stab that other one if it's.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and attack that one. Yeah.
Let's clean these boys up.
Yep, 17 to hit.
That's a hit.
11 points.
All right, so yeah, so we just see Bedlam going around, just like very casual, smash, cleaning up the room, and you are all officially out of initiative. Hello?
Car is clear.
Who are you?
Bedlam.
What does that mean? I don't know who Bedlam is.
I'll shout out, clean up crew.
Open the damn door! You hear someone sort of like pushing past, and then the door sort of slams open, and you see a very Victorian man in a little top hat, so a very stuffy looking person with a big mustache, very well manicured, who has a very big briefcase at their side, sort of like charges through, and he's like, Are you the cutter crew? Correct?
Correct.
That's
Good.
us.
Good. I am Mr. Durling. I'm supposed to be your contact. I'm assuming that VolTek sent you.
Correct.
Yes. Good. We must hurry. There are people like around him trying to like get a look and trying to get out, but he seems like very sort of like aggressive, and people are like, "Oh, is everything okay?" But he's like on a mission. And Mr. Durling is like, "We must go to the next car and make assure that the asset is fine. All right. So please, if you will lead the way, go forward, and I will follow you."
What's this asset?
The asset is need to know. You are all professionals, I assume, so you will understand discretion. So please.
Did you say there's more people with him, or is it just?
Yeah. There's like they look like fancy rich people. They seem very shocked and like, not having a good time. But he seems to be the only like VolTek personnel person here. business dude, but the rest seem to just be like rich folk.
Kind of take a look at Mr. Durling there and tell him, VolTek called us up for this job at pretty short notice.
Yes.
Started with the flat rate, but given certain circumstances,
Yes. I understand.
We were perhaps misled on just the severity of the situation here. I'm sure a man of your stature and your status in the company can understand, being on a need-to-know basis that we are.
Yes, it's all part of the normal fine, the normal fee. Just double, okay? Is that fine? Is that fine with you? Emergency pay? You'll get the stacks that you need. Is that fine?
Double stacks on a need-to-know basis. Triple if we get it done by lunchtime.
He sort of raises an eyebrow. That can definitely be agreed.
And perhaps an extra stack if you want said asset returned fully intact.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let us assess the situation first. So please get moving. We can talk about money and stacks later.
All right. I can't shrug my shoulders and just business with you. We'll walk on. I'll chase after Bedlam.
Awesome. Cork, what about you?
Yeah, I think he's he's not for bartering. He probably already walked a bit ahead so he can get a head start so they can catch up.
Awesome.
And pass him.
I would say, Korik, your Flora sort of speaks to you for a second, and she's like, "Oh, all of these people are in charge of all of those dangerous companies that keep destroying all of our wonderful land. Isn't that right?"
There's a sigh, an audible sigh, and then in using telepathy, it's yeah, I think you got that right. Yes.
Oh, it would be such a shame to just let them go, but that's just my opinion.
What exactly are you suggesting?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just thinking about all of those wonderful forests that are now barren wastelands, and all of those streams that have now dried up, and those terrible mountains that are missing all of their rocks, and
I mean,
it just makes me very sad. That's all.
Well, I suppose but you're right. It makes me very sad as well.
It'd just be a shame to keep letting them do that.
I'm so glad that I have you to point these things out to me.
Oh, it's what I do best. Oh.
So I think he's a bit ahead, and that gives him pause. He physically stops moving from him. He looks over his shoulder, and he's contemplating.
Would you like to do anything?
Probably not immediately.
Okay, cool. Contemplating murder, maybe? Awesome. So you hear that, and I guess you all move into the next car. The next car is the high security car, where VolTek specifically transports its stuff. And Bedlam, you're the first person to walk into that car, and you can see that someone has gone through the car directly. It seems like the last scrap goblin ran through the car and got to the head, which is the engine. But inside of this car, as that front door on the other side is shut, because you see the scrap goblin has gone through. You see inside of this car, there is a bunch of things. There's 2 VolTek specific security guards that are dead on the floor. You see that there's a really big container, a very big circular cylinder container that looks like it has been opened. Not bursted open, it looks like it has been opened of its own volition, and then there's a very big hole in the side of the car as if something has exploded out of it. And there's also a black sort of oily stain on the floor leading from the cylinder to the hole in the side of the train car and out.
Hmm.
So that is all that you see when you walk into here. And you also feel, all of you at the same moment, a little bit of shaking on the train, and you can tell that the train is picking up more speed than it should be now. It is getting faster and faster. And you can tell, we are going to go into initiative again, that if the train is not stopped by the end of the second turn, or the end of the second round, the train will go off of the rails. You feel that the train is picking up a lot of speed. You actually sort of stumble a little bit because it's starting to rock the carriages a little bit more than they should. What would you like to do?
I'd like to proceed to the engine.
Awesome. So I would say, yeah, let's say if you use all of your movement, you get to the next car, you see the engine. This is the engine car. It is sort of enclosed a little bit, where you see that there's a steam furnace, and you see two scrap goblins. One that was already there, and the one that ran away. And it looks like there's no coal or anything being pumped into make the fire. It looks like there might have been, I don't know, something is happening to the steam engine and is making it go faster without any sort of fuel source. And you see that there's some broken things in here, and the scrap goblins look at you and they're like, ah!
Do I have enough movement to get to them to destroy them, or
Yeah,
no?
I would say it's a pretty small car, so you're basically there. You're within reach.
Okay, I'll use my longsword to attack them.
All right, so you just come in here and just like slice, like one big quick just slice all the way around, and they just crumple, and you see the little blue little spirits come up out and dissipate out of their body. But you are standing here in this room.
What
Okay.
can be done to slow down the train?
Yeah, give me some sort of intelligence check. You can decide.
13.
You look around the car, and I would say it does take you a while, but like at the end of your turn, you look at what you think would be the brake, and it's been like broken off. Like it looks like it's been horribly mangled, the brakes. That option is out. I would also say, while this happens, as you walk into the room, Mr. Durling is like, oh, God damn it! Okay, we need to get off of this train, and we must find Subject 13. I don't care if you stop this train. I don't give a goddamn shit. But we need to get the hell off of this train and find Subject 13 right now.
Subject 13, he says. That sounds like an extra stack to me, boss man.
You're pushing it.
Alright. Well, Alright, so I'm gonna push, give him like a nudge, tell him to like brace himself, and I'm gonna run up to I'm gonna join Bedlam in the engine room.
He sort of ducks down. You know that there definitely is a spell affecting it, but you're like, it's really quick. You're looking at it, you're like, okay, that's definitely fucking magic. But you don't have a specific one in your mind.
This is gonna be unfortunate later down the road, but I'm just gonna use my second pack spell slot to cast Dispel Magic on the engine.
Awesome. So what does this look like when you run into this room, quickly assess it, and just boom, like shoot this dispelling magic at the train engine to stop it?
It looks like just like a bunch of that same kind of like just neon blue flames just kind of like engulf it, and almost kind of like it's like purifying it, whatever is like corrupting it to do this. You can kind of see the flames kind of like start to flicker, almost kind of like they're almost like if it was like wrapped in paper mache or something. They just start to kind of just crackle and kringle and just slowly burn up away.
Awesome. And there's these flames, these blue flames. I would say an outward shot. We see the smokestack of the engine cars. Like a blue smoke starts to come out instead of black smoke anymore. And then you see the train starting to do. And it's just like slowly slowing down, and the cars stop rocking behind it, and you actually see Bedlam and Leon. You see another little blue sort of spirit come out, but this time it's of like a really long fish, and it just sort of like snakes its way up into the air and just sort of disappears as the train is slowly slowing down.
I'm gonna poke my head back outside the door and shout to Durling. How you doing over there, Top Hat?
What? What?
Solved your train problem.
I didn't care about the train. I care about subject 13. Yes, this is probably an easier way of getting off of the train. We need to find now. We have to find it now. Do you understand?
Who's subject 13?
It is
Need
to know. We paid for this already. I think you know this. But the only thing you need to know, it is coming from the old steam plant, and we were moving it to the machinery. It was supposed to be very simple. It was only 4 stops away. So whatever has happened is not good. So we need to go.
Bedlam wants to see the point of egress outside the side of the car and see if there's anything to determine if it's like a living being, like blood that went onto like the
floor,
anything that got blown out on the floor or anything, or if it's oil, or if it's just some sort of any sort of liquid clue to determine what subject 13 might be.
It's definitely not a robot. That's your thoughts. You're like, not a robot. I would say you hear, though they're a floating spirit, it's almost like you can hear them tapping their foot. Flora. They're just like, fine, okay. They're saying things under their breath. But they're fine. They're fine.
Yep. I'm not saying nothing will happen. I'm just saying I don't think it's the right time right now.
Mm-hmm. And Leon.
So there's like a giant hole in like the side of one of these cars, is there? Like something.
Yes.
All right,
That's what Bedlam is looking out.
Yeah,
right
I'm
now.
probably with Ben, like looking at it, kind of taking a look out to the city. Again, Leon probably is trying to take the briefest of rests to recover from all his intense spell usage or lockback spells.
Yeah, I would say
he like kind of has one of his hands on the hilt of his sword that he likes to kind of like finagle with, like he was just pondering while he has like a cigar or something in the other hand, trying to figure out where the hell something he has no idea what it is could have gone. But he's trying to like think about like old power plants and everything that kind of entails, what this could be, and he doesn't quite like it. Supposing this thing might, whatever it is, it has some connection to the plants.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of looking in that direction to see if there's any signs of like giveaways as to like what direction this thing might have led to. He's not really too sure what it is he's looking for.
Mm-hmm.
He's, as much as he keeps poking Mr. Durling to give him more.
Since this train goes in a circle around the Arcana district, you're not quite sure when they could have gotten out or jumped out, because I mean, if it's going around the district, whenever they jumped out is the linchpin on where they would be heading. So you think back to what Emil said, and they said that they didn't make their second stop. So you think back to like the layout of the city, and you imagine like, okay, between the first stop and the second stop, it's this part of the city. And you remember that, and if they would have gotten out between then that means they're closer to the Zeppelin yard. Which is the little tiny airfield that is inside of the Arcana district. All of the rest of the Arcana district has these huge 50-foot walls around them, and they have specific gates, but that's the only way to sort of get out without going through one of the gates. And you think that's probably the way I would go if I was trying to get out of here.
And I turn to Durling and ask him how far of a trip away from the Zeppelin airfields are we?
His eyes go wide. What do you mean? Do you think it would have gone to the Zeppelin yard?
Might be its closest option, the timeline.
God damn it. Well, we need to get a steam carriage and get the hell over there now. No. And you see him as the train is slowly coming to a stop. He's like trying to get the fuck off of the train. And like he trying to hail down a steam carriage is basically like a car. He's trying to hail down like a taxi to try to get a car as quickly as he can. Is there anything else you all would like to do in here? before you move off to the airfield. Yeah, any other sort of investigating, looking at stuff, asking questions, etc.
Bedlam would like to see what the cause of death for the guards was.
Awesome. Yeah, Bedlam, you sort of like just very mechanically move the body over and look, and I would say you're looking for steam burns, but you look at them and it looks like they've been stabbed. And not by loose knives or scrap metal like the little goblins. This looks like a very clean, like a very, like, not a serrated blade or messed up. This looks like a dagger or a sword wound. And none of these guards are holding swords. It looks like they have like riveter guns on them. Also, it does not look like there was a struggle. It looks like they were surprised. It doesn't look, there's no like bruising or like hits on any of them. It looks very quick. Either someone surprised them or they knew them.
Subject 13 is armed?
What? What? The subject is armed? No.
The guards have been stabbed.
Well, they don't. Well, they didn't. Subject 13 does not have any sort of sharp implements on them, so at least as far as I know. So it couldn't have been them if that's what you're asking.
Hearing this and knowing that Flora's already made some implications and she uses the short sword, I think Korik is a little bit worried.
I would say it's a pretty easy to dismiss Flora being involved, just because it seems like until you like use the spell to have her help you, it seems like it's kind of like only she can interact with you or you can interact with her. It's almost like she's sort of ethereal until you make her not. Though it seems like she's helping you, it seems almost like you're helping her more than she's helping you. In a relationship sort of way.
Okay.
But I will say, with an 11, you notice that the door of the big cylinder that you assume Subject 13 was in, it's not broken open. It looks like it's open with a key. So the locks aren't broken. There's no like, the only damage is the hole in the side of the train.
Yeah, I think expecting, maybe foul play from someone within, he wouldn't say that out loud. He would like just get close to Bedlam and Leon and like telepathically say, I think we might have something. Better take a look here before we head out.
Bedlam would like to see the inside of the Subject 13's carrier case, or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Wanting to see if to find any way to determine what Subject 13 is.
Okay.
Species-wise or anything like that.
I would probably be taking a look at some of these other VolTek cases, seeing if any of them will just open up willingly and see if there's anything inside that might aid us in tracking down whatever Subject 13 is.
Okay. Cool.
Either just like to our benefit, just anything that will benefit us, like potions, any magic items, extra gear, see what else VolTek had in here.
I might just whisper and like ask the little canary to keep an eye on kind of the surrounding area, but specifically on Mr. Darling, because he's getting a bit suspicious of that guy.
So you look through these cases, and unfortunately, there's nothing useful. I mean, you find like a riveter gun, a spare one, but nothing that seems to be specific to helping. It looks like a lot of like normal shit or little pipes and parts that would be for like bigger machines and things like that.
All right, I hand the riveter over to Bedlam because like to Leon, that's kind of like grunt level like night police stuff. Like it's not exactly magic. It doesn't have the same appeal to him
Yeah.
at this point in his career.
There's a lot of sort of black, gooey sort of stuff. It reminds you of oil, but you're just not quite sure. And then you're like, ah, fuck, we gotta go. So you don't quite have enough time for that.
Okay.
Korik, the little birdie, is watching Mr. Durling. He seems to be, the only thing that the birdie tells you is he seems to be really attached to that suitcase. And that's really all that he sort of picks up. And he's also like, that guy seems like a dick. The bird telling.
Nice to have that confirmation.
And I would say eventually Mr. Durling is like, oh, fine, finally, we got one. Everyone inside, we need to go. No. And he's getting inside of a steam carriage and is trying to go to the Zeppelin yard. Do you all follow suit?
For sure.
I'll hop in.
Bedlam will go on the back of it like the footman. Since he's probably too big to fit inside.
And the car just sort of, it's a very back heavy now. But yeah, it speeds off towards the Zeppelin yard. I like to think of, I mean, at least a short rest is just kind of like just not exerting yourself, basically. So I think sitting in a car for like even 5-10 minutes, I feel like would be enough, specifically for a warlock to get their stuff back.
We ran into traffic and it made it 20 minutes.
Exactly.
Boom.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah. So as you say that, as you're taking a little short rest in the back of this steam carriage, basically we're watching this car drive past even horses and buggies still going through the streets of the Arcana district, weaving its way through all of these smokes and steam stacks and everything, going down different streets. You do indeed run into a little bit of traffic, but after Mr. Durling screams at the driver enough, he drives onto the sidewalk and then careens around a corner, and you can see down this street, you see the top of a couple of Zeppelins, meaning that you are getting to the Zeppelin yard. And after a few seconds, they careen to a stop. Mr. Durling jumps out. He's like, "That way! We need to get it now!" And is like pointing at the yard, and you all are running into, I'm assuming, the Zeppelin yard, where you can see there's like, what stuff is around here? There's like a couple, obviously there's Zeppelins that are landed. It's a very open area. There's like a hot air balloon, some like other sort of things. There's also like high buildings on the perimeters, but it's mostly open, and you can see farther beyond the wall. You know that past that wall is the ocean. And I would say you have to get through a little. What are those called? I don't know. You have to go through a gate. And as you go
checkpoint.
A checkpoint. But there's no one at the checkpoint. Strangely enough, the thing is just open, and then you see a small figure standing. It looks like they're dressed like a knight. A small figure, a dwarf, I would say, standing there, and sort of turns around and closes his hand very quickly, and you recognize that he's doing a spell, and then what appears is this big frozen wall of ice that encompasses all of you, including himself, inside of it. And Leon, you recognize Captain Jarrow.
Oh, god damn it.
You see Captain Jarrow standing there as he's cast this ice wall spell that is a circle 20 foot high and 20 foot around, encompassing all of you inside of it. And he's like, "Of course, it'd be someone like you to come here. He's got no fucking honor. Of course it'd be you, Leon."
You know, it's a good thing you made this wall. You can turn around and look in the mirror, pal. You should be careful who you throw stones at.
your help, you're working with them. And he points at Mr. Durling. He's like, VolTek is a disease. It's destroying the land, destroying all that we have. The spirits have nowhere to go. Do you know what's happening to them? They're trapping them inside of things. They're dying. This used to be a land where we could mix, where the spirits and all of us could live in harmony. But these damn companies, people like him, he points at Mr. Durling, who's like, I'm sure that if we could come to some sort of agreement. He's like, you shut up. I'm not going to fight you, but I'm also not going to let you stop them from getting away. And you see the top of the Zeppelin is taking off. You can, since there's a 20-foot high wall, you can just see the top of the Zeppelin as it's starting to take off.
Who are they?
They're what he calls Subject 13. It's something new. It's something I've never seen before, and honestly, it sort of reminds me of you. He's looking at you, Bedlam. Somehow different. It's something new, and they're trying to use them and trying to torture and experiment on them. They shouldn't be allowed to do it, but of course, all of those decisions are made by people like us. It's made for the people who have the money. People like them. And Mr. Durling is like, I'll triple your price. He looks at all of you. You all probably feel very differently about this decision. I'd say, Bedlam, we don't know, is there a soul in there? Is there something, do you feel like a person? This is probably a question that you've asked yourself many times. Like, what am I? It sounds like this Subject 13 might be similar to what you are. Korik, you remember that you had to leave your home all that time ago because some company, VolTek, came in to clear the land to build a new city, and you haven't been able to find your family since. And it seems like they're now trapping spirits of the land, which is something you look at Flora when this happens. Leon, Captain Jarrow, though he's always been on your ass, he has been a man of conviction, of honor. But I don't know if you respect that.
I want to present one possibility to Korik in this case.
So do you, like, lean over and whisper to Korik?
Yeah, because I get the sense, like, having worked together, I can probably sense the hesitancy from him with what Jero was saying. Say that, like, consider the possibility that Subject 13 is, in fact, hostile. If it gets out of this Arcana district in that Zeppelin, it can go wherever it wants, and it can cause potentially even more damage to whatever's left of the surrounding forest than VolTek or anyone else could possibly fathom. That's always a possibility.
No, I am considering it. And he, like, I think strokes his chin a bit and then telepathically to Flora, like, what do you think about all this?
Well, I think everyone here should just... Oops. You see her sort of, like, catch herself for a second. I just don't think that anyone that hurts the land or the natural things in the world should be going on and being able to do more of it. So I don't necessarily like that one. She points at Mr. Durling. She's like, I don't really like him. But, and you also see something in her eyes. She's like, something seems familiar about... And she sort of looks over at the Zeppelin, but it doesn't seem like she knows. She's confused, and that's all she says.
Bedlam kind of looks to Leon and Korik for more of the moral guidelines of things. So at this point, Bedlam looks like they're on a standby mode, but also then looking towards Durling
Durling.
and looks specifically at the briefcase in his hand and says, "What is that?"
Mr. Durling's like, "It's none of your business. Look, we don't have time to be talking with whoever this is. He'll be sued and thrown in jail. We need to go now. You have any idea what would happen if Subject 13 got out of this area? VolTek, done. You know that old, that other, what was that one company that we made earlier?
The
Steamworks.
Steamworks. You know what Steamworks company? The first Burke City, you know what happened to them when something got out? Everything was wrong. Everything got completely shit. And I think I saw the CEO eating out of a trash can the other day. If anything, even the smallest bit of VolTek's experiments gets out of the Arcana District, VolTek is done. We've already bought up half of the buildings in the Arcana District. We are the Arcana District. If we go down, you're all out of a job. And Garrow's like, just like all you folks, you don't care about nothing except for your money.
If what Durling says is true, and they go down, that means the rest of the district goes down. That's just going to cause more chaos. So it's probably just better to keep things under wraps here, you guys. I say we get out. We gotta get out. We gotta get the Zeppelin down. That's my take.
You make me sick. Never had a spine in your life. Do what you will.
I'll look at him. I'll start readying Eldritch Blast to either aim at him or the wall to shatter through.
He just keeps the stare on you.
Look at everyone. Anyone else got any stances they want to make clear?
See there, Mr. Durling. You said you would triple our pay if we get this done.
Yes.
I don't suppose you have that money on you right now, do you?
No, I do not. I don't exactly carry that amount of stacks on me, but I assure you, as we have paid you in the past, VolTek Industries always pays those who do the work properly.
May I have an insight check on him?
Yeah, sure. I would say you also can do it with advantage.
19.
You know that Mr. Durling, he is correct. VolTek always pays their people. Every single time that you've worked with them, the pay has never been an issue. The issue is this right? But you know that Mr. Durling, he will indeed keep his word and pay you. But you also see him sort of holding that briefcase a little bit tighter, and he's standing away from you all, and you basically get if we don't do the job, he'll probably attack us. So you do feel a little bit of danger there, but that's only if justified, basically. But you do know that Garrow will not attack you. So the Zeppelin is getting away.
Yeah.
What are you all doing?
Bedlam will turn to Durling and will fire his javelin at the briefcase.
Woo! All right, awesome. So we're going to take the rolls for that in a second, but now we're going over to Korik.
Yeah, Korik pulls out, just reaches into his bag and pulls out this lucky 4-leaf clover. He just says, "All right, then let's do this quick." And he casts Summon Fae to summon Flora to the material realm.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. For what intention? What do you want Flora to do when they get here?
It's based off emotion. So yeah, fuming, which is
Cool.
that's attack. Let's go. That's
Hell yeah. So okay, cool. Even though everyone is deciding to do this stuff, I think we're still going to roll initiative to see who acts first. So Leon, your thing could still matter, depending on what you want to do. So what does Leon want to do, divorced from what they're doing?
I was gonna say, if you're telling me, judging from just where I am, I can't reach the Zeppelin with Eldritch Blast. if I Misty stepped on top of the ice wall, is he close enough now?
I mean, I would say if you get rid of the ice wall, there are things around you to be able to get up to the Zeppelin. It has gone off the ground, so you just have to like, I don't know, find a thing.
I said he had his Eldritch Blast readied and aimed at Jiro. But he's probably gonna use that blast to shoot past him and just shatter the ice wall.
Amazing. Awesome. Yeah, so you know what? Yeah, we're all going to roll for initiative real quick. So the initiative is Leon, Bedlam, Korik, Captain Gero, and Mr. Durling. So first up, Leon.
All right. The building pressure and tension, building pressure and tension between two offering company parties. Finally just loses his patience, fires the blast. It kind of like gives like it causes like a ping sound through the air as it fires off, almost like a firearm shot from a riveter. But it just ends up going straight past Jiro's face, and that's a natural 1 from the attack roll.
No!
Oh,
but okay. So yeah, what does it look like really messing this up?
Oh, that's awkward as hell. I don't know. Does this wall have ricochet properties?
You know what? It sure does.
What does it ricochet back into, Mr. DM?
Who would you want it to hit the least?
The least? Probably Durling.
Okay, it's gonna hit Durling. Unfortunately. What is the normal damage of the Eldritch Blast? It'll do like half.
It's 1d10, and I have repelling blast attached to it.
Oh, okay, awesome. So he's gonna like hit the wall. Okay, so roll damage, and then we'll half that. And since he's moving 10 feet, that's basically like falling. So I'm gonna roll a d6 in addition to that.
I don't believe this.
What?
Full 10.
Nice. Okay, so that's 5 plus 4. It does 9 damage. So yeah, you blast this Eldritch, like you said, a gunshot. Ping, bounces off, hits Durling. He's like, ugh! He's like, what the hell? It knocks his hat off, and he slams into the ice wall. Ah! And next turn.
Yay, fancy maneuvers. It's a disarming attack. They would have to make a saving throw against a DC of 15.
Damn it! Okay, roll a 5. So yes, you knock the briefcase out of his hand, and it falls to the ground next to him. He's like, "What are you doing, you idiots?"
And then use the sword to pick up the briefcase. Do that and stay where I'm at. And see what he does next.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So next it is Korik.
Yep, Korik, as stated before, pulls out this 4-leaf clover, casts Summon Fae, and this, I guess people will see it for canonically the first time in this episode. But yeah, I think the people here would have seen it before. The color.
Hello. I mean, hello! They're very angry. They just scream. I guess, do you command it to do things?
Yeah, so their initiative count, well, they technically just go right after me.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so yeah, pretty much, attack. There you go. And as a bonus action, I'm going to turn myself into a bear using my wild shape. Yep.
So just like Animorph as like a big face spirit who's just like appears next to you. And yeah, so I guess it is the face spirit's turn. Yeah, do what you need to do.
Yep. So she's going to, as a bonus action, teleport in front of him, basically. He's up against the wall, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I imagine she pulls out the short sword, a little wooden short sword that she has, then teleports to him, and then tries to stab. She has advantage because she just used her face step.
Oh God.
Could also get flanking with Bedlam too.
First one's a 1, second one's a 14 to hit.
Unfortunately, both of those miss.
I'll go.
So there's a very elegantly, like one of her hands just like, ah! And just like slicing over at Mr. Durling, and he's just like, ah! And he looks a little bit quicker than you would have expected him to be, and he's just dodging out of the way. He's like, "What is? You're all going to fry for this? The hell is wrong with you?" And he's just like, "You have no idea the money that you're throwing away," and he screams that. Technically, Mr. Durling has legendary actions, so he's going to use one after your little phase turn. And they are going to use one of their legendary actions to try to take the briefcase away from Bedlam. Okay, so you have to beat an 11.
Nat 20.
God. Okay. So, yeah, he goes up and he's like, "Give me that, you stupid robot!" And you just pull it away from him. He's like, "Ah!" That is his legendary action, and it's his next turn is Captain Gero. He, like he said, is not going to fight, so he will just stay there, holding concentration on his ice spell. Then it is Mr. Durling. Finally, he takes out this little disc out of his pocket, and it's like kind of glowing blue. It looks like it has a little bit of electricity on it, and he's just like, "Give me that damn briefcase, you stupid block!" And he presses something on the back of it. And what is your AC, Bedlam?
19.
Damn it. God, this guy's rolling like ass. So he misses, and this huge bolt of electricity flies out of this thing and just kind of like bounces around the ice and sort of like flies out, hitting no one. And he's like, "Ah!" And then he's going to try to wrestle the briefcase away from you again. So give me another strength. This is not good. Oh! This is the worst thing ever.
18.
You're the fucking 2. So this guy has really good stats if he can get fucking briefcase. Okay, so yeah, I guess that's his turn. Back to the top, Leon.
All right, I'm extremely confused by everything that just transpired.
Yeah, he's like, what?
This guy, I see this guy's got a real thing for this briefcase. And Jero's just being something. I don't know. I'm just gonna try. I want to use my turn to just ask Jero what the hell Subject 13 is. I want some answers here.
He looks at you, and he's like, I told you, it's something new. It's some sort of being. I think it might be a spirit from the land that has been trapped inside of some sort of machine, and they're using it for something.
Whatever that something is getting annoying. If I can get a clean shot, I'm gonna fire a second Eldritch Blast, but I'm gonna aim it at the briefcase this time.
Okay. Shit.
How about that? How about that?
I will.
I'm getting real tired of this. No one telling me what my goddamn job is here. Everyone
Amazing.
is being very unprofessional with me, and it's killing the vibe. Here we go.
Amazing.
Okay. This time we got a 23 to hit.
Okay, that does hit.
Against my better judgment of my teammates, I'm just gonna see what comes out of it.
Okay. Oh, so is your intention to open it or to do damage to it?
Destroy it, open, see what's inside, literally anything to figure out what's so special about this thing.
I'll say you can either do damage or you can open it. So either you forego your damage to open it and see what's inside, or you can just do damage.
I'll forego the damage in order to open it. How about we do that?
Cool. Okay, so yeah, so you blast your Eldritch Blast. It flies over. It hits the latch on the top, and it like starts to open, and then you see it's like and it like forms, something comes out of it, and the briefcase changes and it forms into what looks to be an exosuit that someone can get inside of. And it's just sort of like boom, just like it shows up standing there right in front, like pretty much in between Bedlam and Mr. Durling. This thing just has like popped up out of the briefcase and boom, landed right in front of him.
Well, that's not something I expected to see today.
Anything else you'd like to do with your turn?
Nope, that's all I got for my turn today.
Okay. Legendary action. We're gonna have Mr. Durling jump into the exosuit.
There it is.
Can I use a reaction for Sentinel to keep him from moving?
Well, he is technically still in your area, but you know, I think that's very cool. So why not? Yeah, the ability is basically preventing people from moving. Or getting to someplace, so I still think that is cool and should apply. So yeah, make an opportunity attack on this dude. If you hit, then you will stop him from moving.
19?
Yes, that does hit. That does hit. So do some damage to this boy. He has such good stats, everyone. He has so many cool attacks. If he can get inside of his fucking robot. But no!
It ends up being minimum damage anyway, so 5 points. But
Yeah,
basically,
but, I mean, you still stop him.
Bedlam's just... It's like the javelin just goes out just to kind of trip him he's trying to get into his exoskeleton.
So he wasted one of his legendary actions. He's like stumbles, just kind of like you trip him. He falls to the ground, but not like mechanically wise, but he falls to the ground, just like you stupid robot. And he like turns over to Leon. He's like, you are the sensible one. Just go and get that Zeppelin, knock it out of the sky, and quadruple the price. Do you hear me?
Turn to look at Jerome back again. Just like look at this weird ass exosuit in front of me. Just like, nice shiny toy you got there. But that's worth a little more than that seems like it's worth a little more than 4 stacks actually.
You want the exosuit? You can have the exosuit if you bring down that Zeppelin. It's now Bedlam's turn officially.
Just get in front of the exoskeleton and prevent him from going into it. I'll hold attack action if they take a offensive action against me or anybody else, including getting into the exoskeleton. I will then attack.
Okay. So then as your turn ends, you see him press the button at the back of this disc that he is holding again, so he's going to take offensive action on you. Do you want to use your attacks now?
Yes, I will attack, and let's see. 18 to hit.
Ooh, okay, yeah, you hit him.
I will use the superiority die for another disarming attack to disarm that
Oh
little button
no! Not taking away my toys!
Bully the DM.
11 points of damage, and then the disarming.
So they have to roll above a 15, you said? Or 15 or above to keep it?
Yeah, 15 or above to keep it, yeah.
Come on!
But I still do a little damage, so.
Don't fuck me. Alright, you got 11 plus 2, so it's 13. So his thing falls out of his hand.
So just flicks out the sword to hit his hand to flick it off, but of course it does damage because it's a sword.
Oh, shit! So you hit that. He's like, "God damn it!" It's like skitters to the ground. And he's going to, I guess, since he wasn't able to use that for his legendary, he's going to just move into the exosuit. You are in the way, but he can use his movement to sort of get around and stay inside of your area.
Mm-hmm.
He gets inside of the exosuit. It's go time, baby. He gets inside of the suit and he's like, finally. And it's like, But again, that was just a legendary action, so that is all for him. Now it is
that was on my turn, so
turn.
Right. As a bear, going to charge this guy in the exosuit.
Hell yeah.
He's even worse now. He's in machinery. Ugh, gross.
Yes.
Claws. It's a natural one. It's a miss. The
Damn.
bite is a 20 for 11 damage.
Ooh, that hits. Okay, 11 damage. Here we go.
Like similar to the flashback, he just goes too high on the claws, but this one's intentional. So then he ducks down and then he chomps down like on the suit or him. I don't know how this works.
Yeah, let's say it's the suit first. So there's like bars preventing it. I'm imagining this a little bit like the mover bot from Aliens, a little bit,
Right.
but a little bit smaller, a little bit more mobile and steampunky, but like that sort of rig, kind of. So you like bite one of the bars right in front of it, and it's like hitting some of the electrodes and wiring. It's just like as these bear teeth are coming right for him, and he's like, "Get off of me!" And yeah, crazy attack.
Sweet. So then Flora
Aha! Here we go.
teleport behind him, and attack with the short sword. It's a 24
Ooh, that hits.
for 10 piercing and 1 force damage, if it matters. I don't
Dang.
know.
So we just see like a burst of leaves, and then a burst of leaves as Flora appears, and she's like, "I hate everyone like you," and then just like stabs through the machine and like cuts his leg a little bit. He's like, "What the hell? Get out of my way!" And is very angry at you all. And we'll use at the end of Flora's turn. We'll use another legendary action, and he's going to move to the other side of the ice wall and try to whenever he can do stuff again, try to start hitting it. And I'm going to roll a d6 to see if he can pick up his little electrode disc that's on the ground. To see if he can do that during his move.
I have to ask, is he leaving our reach?
Yes, he is.
Sweet.
You can do an opportunity attack if you wish. You do see that Bedlam just wham, just like puts the blade in front of them, stops them in their tracks. As you hear some metal crunching on one of the legs of the exosuit, as it looks like it's a little bit harder for the leg to move on that side. The exosuit does not look like it's doing pretty well, and you do see him sort of like spit blood up from his mouth. Mr. Durling. He's like, y'all stupid idiots! You have no idea what's gonna happen to me! This company goes down! And I guess that is Captain Garrow, who still stands there doing nothing, and he looks pleased at the situation. And I guess with his last legendary action, Durling is going to, really, really sick of Bedlam's shit, turns around and is going to hit them with one of their blade attacks. You see their arms of the exosuit. You see they they shove it down, and two blades come out of the forearms, and he's just like, "Ah!" and swings over at Bedlam. Ugh. Dog shit rolls. Misses with that, but it is his turn very soon. But still, just the embarrassment of these rolls. He's going to move. Unfortunately, there's no more opportunity attacks to be had.
Yeah.
He's going to pick up his electrode thing, put it on his chest. It comes back to you, Bedlam Korik, and the little face barret, is going to use a very fun attack. So I need everyone within 10 feet, which is everyone besides Leon and Captain Garrow, to give me a DC 17 dex save. So you see that he comes back, puts the electrode on. He's like, "You want to see what this thing can do? Well, then I'll show you." And then you see the arms start to like a bunch of steam releases, and then the arms just start like moving really, really fast, and it just starts slicing like everywhere within 10 feet. These it's like shooting massive amount of smoke and steam out of this exosuit as it's slicing like crazy. And Korik and Bedlam, you take 30 slashing damage. Flora takes 15 from that. And slices at you all like crazy. Actually, let's say he does this first, and once he's done slicing, he runs over, picks up the thing, gets to the ice wall, and actually technically has 2 more attacks. So he's going to try to attack the wall, because that is what he's trying to do. Oh my god, dog shit.
Doesn't feel good, don't it?
But the wall does have an AC of 5, so I guess it still hits. But it's still stupid.
The greatest foe of the campaign, the wall.
So he actually barely does enough damage, and you see this chunk of the wall, this 5-foot chunk of the wall, blasts through the frozen wall, and it does not have enough movement to get out of it, but it's blown it open and turns around with his electrode thing, and just hates Bedlam so much, and turns around and charges and wants to shoot the power from this disc over at Bedlam. I'm pretty sure a 22 hits, correct?
22 will hit, yes.
That's 11 damage. So it's just so sort of like a Tony Stark like circle thing in the center of their chest, just like boom, beam of electricity shoots out at you, Bedlam, and sort of like pushes you back a little bit as they turn around to try to get the hell out of this ice wall. That is back to the top of the round. That is Leon.
He's officially worn out my patience, keeping this all this from me. Holding the amulet that's on the sword hilt, kind of hold it up kind of in his direction, and I'm going to cast Shatter on him in the suit. Now,
That's pretty cool.
he's encased in metal, so he has disadvantage on this saving throw.
That's interesting. Okay.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And he must make me a con saving throw. It's
Oh,
DC 14.
What does it normally look?
I want to stick with some of kind of like the blue neon flame aesthetic going here. I'll say like it basically creates like a pressure bubble around him of this like fire like gas, just kind of like pressing onto the metal to kind of just break it apart by like with like supernatural like accursed force like spiritual forces.
Awesome. So yeah, this bubble, zoom, and then it starts to crush in, and boom! It's just like it just smashes all of this metal. He got a nat 1, baby. And it's just like it's like bending all this metal. What is the damage for this?
That's 22 technically 22 thunder damage if it matters. Let's say it's like the thunder damage can come from just like the mechanics just falling apart, just like sending sparks everywhere.
Leon, what does it look like when you destroy this exosuit with Mr. Durling inside?
This is brutal. All the various pieces just start just like as if like a submarine has been punctured 10,000 leagues under the sea. Like as if a U-boat in World War I has hit a mine or something. Just rivets, like actual like mechanical rivets, not our terminology for guns, start flying out of this thing from all the immense pressure. Some of it starts to just like collapse in on itself. And eventually just it all gives way and it just explodes on itself.
It's just like his like eye. It looks like his eye is like starting to bulge with like red blood because like again it's doing pressure on his body as well. And he's like, "You could have made so much money!" Just like, boom, and all these rivets fly out in the smoke and steam, and it just sort of like covers the whole area in just this black smoke for a few seconds, and you are out of initiative. As we see. Captain Garrow releases his hand, and the ice bell drops to the ground. And I would see you see a zeppelin just about 20 feet off of the ground, and you see a figure at the back of the zeppelin in a big cloak. The sort of like the wind blows the cloak back, and it looks like an automaton. It has a circular body, a very big circular body, which sort of is its head and its body at the same time. Very lanky arms and legs, but it looks like there's some like black sort of ooze thing inside of it. And when you do this, when the explosion clears, the clouds sort of like part for a second, which rarely happens. Rarely real sunlight comes down on the city of Newburgh, and the sunlight sort of touches this automaton, and the black ooze, sort of like dirt or oil on water, sort of separates, and you see this blue sort of spirit that sort of like comes out of the body, and it looks almost like a snake or a dragon, really long-tailed dragon. And I would say, Korik, you recognize this as a river spirit. And Flora looks at the river spirit again and is like, "Oh, yes, I know them. Now I remember." And I would say you all think back to where that steam plant was that they were transporting it. There used to be a river there, and it dried up long ago. So the little frog spirits, the little fish spirits, and the spirit of the river itself didn't have anywhere to go. So they wound up in these other things. As you see the spirit sort of like flying off, and it seems to drift off and go down to the sea as the zeppelin is slowly flying off into the distance.
May not get paid, but I think we did some good today.
Well, perhaps you won't get paid, but as Leon kind of like trails off, he walks over to the whatever remaining rubble and begins salvaging.
You can definitely pull out a couple of things. I'd say Captain Garrow looks towards you, Leon. He's like, "Well, guess you're full of surprises then. Didn't think you'd change your mind." Something like that.
I just without looking to him, so say, if you want to write this, if you want to make a write up for the Knights, you're welcome to take credit for my work again. I won't stop you.
I think we'll keep this one off the books, if that's fine with you.
You know this doesn't make us friends anymore, right? You did kind of call me a jerk.
Oh no, that I still feel that way still. Just cause an asshole has one good day doesn't make him not an asshole.
Can I cast friends on myself to give me advantage to do a persuasion check to let me keep the stuff?
He sees that you're digging around his stuff, and he just kind of looks away. He does not care.
Well, in this moment, Bedlam looks to where the exoskeleton got crushed and just comments, "Well, that was messy." Looks to the zeppelin as it drifts away and sees the spirit drift away and ponders, "Something like that in me." And then just watches the spirit as it leaves to the ocean.
You feel Bedlam like a little, almost as if there was a flame inside of you, a little spark. It feels like it's gotten a little stronger, even just with that little realization.
Yeah, I think hearing Bedlam say that, just de-bearify, first of all. This would be terrifying as a bear.
What?
I do not speak bear.
There's
sorry.
deep philosophical discussions about the nature of a soul. Bear.
Just puts his paw on your shoulder.
I think. Just pats Bedlam on like the back of the like leg, I guess, because he's again small. Says, "I'm sure there is something inside, but even if there isn't, doesn't matter much. You're still good. Doesn't matter as much as you think it does." Just like smiles, looks up.
I would say you can also still see Flora Bedlam, and she smiles at you, which I think she never has done before. She's like, whenever you've seen her, she's just been scowling at you as this beautiful, otherworldly fey creature that's like sort of life itself is always scowled down at you, but in this time, sort of a little smile.
Bedlam will just tilt their head like, curious.
I rejoin the group with a little satchel full of scraps and stuff. It's like, what are we on? Oh, so ready for who needs a drink?
And I would say we flash to you all sort of getting drinks, having a fun time. Where do we see them as the story ends?
I can see Bedlam telling Vivian as to what happened with these spirits, and then starting to see if there are any others that are being captured and forced into servitude in this way, and trying to free them.
I would say definitely this isn't a scene that's necessarily played out, but when you tell Vivian that, you see her eyes get misty, and she sort of touches where Bedlam's chest is, where you know deep inside is where that spark is that makes you you. And you can see like she's looking at that. Though there's metal in the way, you can see it feels like she's staring through you at that. And she starts to cry, and more to herself. But you see a little bit, even just in her, almost a little spark itself of hope, maybe. And we see Bedlam going around doing little, doing investigations and shutting down these VolTek areas and figuring out that these spirits, once they had nowhere to go, they would fly out and inhabit these mechanical things that do not have a soul. And you were able to go around and free them and give them a place to be, or at least help them pass on.
I like to think that Korik, some point down the line, would find like a trail of brightly colored flowers, and he doesn't know if it was Flora or not, and she would never admit if it was.
She just looks away.
And he would essentially follow it, and perhaps, this is Flora's way of rewarding him for his good work. He would reunite with his druid circle.
And so you see these flowers kind of going up a hill, and Flora's just like, oh, I don't know, maybe there's something over there, I don't know. And you go over this hill, and you see, you see a bunch of halflings with little tents set up, and it looks like they've become a little bit of nomadic, but it seems like they've been outside of the city of New Burke for a little while. And you see them all, and they all turn around as they're the kids are running around, and they're having a wonderful little festival. And you see one of them sort of turn around, they're like, Korik! It's Korik, everyone! And they shout back to the rest of the druids and everyone, and they all, Korik! And they start shouting and cheering, and they all run over to you, and they embrace you, and have a wonderful time with your druid circle after being reunited. Do you choose to stay with them, or?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I lost him once, I'm not going to lose him again.
That's And I would say you see maybe a few weeks later from that, they have sort of appointed you as a very high position in the Druid Circle as sort of like a protector of sorts. Though you might not be the biggest, though you might not be the strongest, but you are the most powerful and at least the most wizened of the world that they've seen. And they give you this new title.
Love it. Thank you.
Leon.
All right. Well, Leon will probably has been put in a strange situation. His old knight order, he's kind of thoroughly separated from them, we'd say. But at the same time, probably one of his single best, like, what would you call it? His clients, pretty much, in VolTek is currently probably being dissolved and liquidated from all this as we speak, as more stuff surfaces. But there's still probably just one thing on his mind that he can't quite pin down that makes sense to him. That was how Subject 13 was able to get out in the first place while murdering 2 guards. In his back of his mind, he's probably thinking there's a little bit something more going on in the Arcana district, black markets per se.
Mm-hmm.
And that has stoked a new interest in him to get back down onto some of those streets and figure out exactly what's going on here. See if there's any more VolTek equipment or projects that might have been broken out into the world somewhere.
Awesome. You see, like, Leon becoming almost like a new PI, basically, and getting into the rusty underbelly of the Arcana district. You honestly probably work a little side by side with Bedlam a couple of times. And
I was gonna say we probably run into each other a few times with the steelworks and everything in our investigations.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, you're bringing down some dudes, and you actually discover a couple of like more shady operations going on with VolTek. Since they're almost becoming a monopoly on the industry, you're able to get some evidence that that the council and the king cannot overlook, and you're starting to get them shut down. And I would say at one point, there's one scene in the future where they're making arrests, and you see Captain Garrow is there, and he's like, all right, well, I guess it wasn't too terrible of a job. And he rests his hands on his waist, and you see that he has this very nice looking short sword on his belt, and you make the connection that it was Captain Garrow who got onto the train.
Of course it was.
Killed those dudes, used the key,
Yeah.
let the thing loose.
Of course it was.
You remember like all of the things that you did in the office when you were working with the Knights, all of the paperwork that had to come across to allow certain things, certain permits. He hated them, and he wouldn't pass any of them. And probably some of them that came across your desk, he didn't care and got some of them passed. And it seemed like the days went by, he felt more and more guilty, and this was a sort of breaking point.
There's always a more crooked cop out there.
That's right. And is there anything else that we see Leon with?
Makes one last letter on a piece of parchment with his illusory script, and he gives it to Emil to bring directly to the king's attention concerning the police forces in the Arcana district after he puts this together.
Okay, cool. So you're like ratting out Captain Garrow?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So you see, Meal's like, yeah, sure, I could deliver this, and then we see maybe a week or two later, Captain Garrow in chains, getting thrown in jail, and like half of the other knights are being like questioned, and they start getting cleaned up a little bit, and I would say the camera's panning away as we see these 3 separate scenes of Korek, Leon, and Bedlam, and it's zooming away from the city, and it looks like, you're not quite sure, but it looks like the smoke above the city seems a little bit thinner now. Like it might be just a little bit easier for a little bit of light to seep in. And before the camera goes to black, we see a little blue translucent dragon spirit wiggle across the screen.